Hello, I'm Rico Cavella. I want to welcome you to this episode of Fearless Aging, where in every episode, my guests and we strive to offer you proven tips and strategies that you can implement immediately to greatly improve your overall health and well-being. So we're here to inspire you and empower you to become your best self so you can go out and make a bigger positive impact in the world. So before I introduce today's expert guest and our topic for today, I have a quick question for you. If you've been wondering how well you are aging, I have the solution for you. You can go to my main website, agelesslivinglifestyle.com, take our free aging assessment. And if you don't like the results, you can book a call with me, a free call with me, and we'll discuss what challenges you're having. And I'll do my best to get you going on the right track. So today's episode is it's really a very important one, something that we haven't covered before at all. So our guest, his name is Johann Ilgen Fritz. Ilgen Fritz, yeah, I got it. Okay, and he's the author of Reversing Cancer. You caused it, you can reverse it. So Johann, he also created the Alkaline Collective Mastermind. It's a dedicated online community for those battling cancer, aiming to prevent it or striving to stop its reoccurrence. This was designed for individuals who are committed to becoming part of their healing journey, willing to put in the necessary work, hold themselves accountable, and seek a comprehensive toolbox of resources. So this is going to be a really beneficial uh, uh, session today. So be sure and stay tuned, and we'll let you know all about that collective, how you can get involved, and also how you can get a copy of his book, Reversing Cancer. So Johan, thanks so much for being here.
Hello, Rick. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I commend you for your work. This is such an important topic. So let's begin by just kind of briefly telling your story. You know how all this came about.
Yeah, Rico, it all started back in 2011. I was 46 at the time, uh, fashion photographer, living in Germany, working in Germany and in London, where I I had a heart attack, a light heart attack on the tennis court, and then 6 months later, uh, while trying to work out why I wasn't feeling better, and the doctors as well, uh, I was diagnosed with cancer the first time.
Mm.
I like separating the two things because after that I got a terminal diagnosis as well.
Wow.
But I like separating the two. I speak of the first and the second diagnosis because of my reaction to the diagnosis that was so different. And that's why I like doing that. The first diagnosis was, I think most people can imagine, terrible. It's really confusing. It confused my whole life, and I stumbled into radiotherapy, did 2 sets of radiotherapy. But the whole time during that experience, I had this feeling of of not being part of the process. Nobody told me what to do. Nobody told me eat this, don't eat that. Nobody said to me exercise, don't exercise. But the worst thing of it is I didn't ask either. I just went with the flow. But that feeling of not being part of that whole process of my health process, stayed with me. I have to admit. But you know what it's like when everything returns to normal. Things go back to normal. So from my side, nothing changed, and
Mhm.
that was. I now know the big problem. So 3 months later, during my first post-cancer screenings, I was told that the cancer had returned with a vengeance
Mhm.
and spread, and literally said to me that we can't do anything anymore. Go home, get your stuff, get your things in order between 6 and 12 months. But I mention this not because I want to dwell on it. I don't actually dwell on it, not at all. But because of my reaction with the second diagnosis, I remember sitting in my oncologist's office, and a voice in the back of my head screaming at me, "You're not going to die, Johan." You know,
So good.
you are going to die. We're not. None of us
Yeah,
are getting out of
yeah,
this
we're all going.
alive,
Right.
but not now, and definitely not in 12 months, and definitely not from cancer. So that was that that was my starting point after the second diagnosis, which was amazing. It was. I went home. I realized that, okay, so the first option didn't work. I now know why it didn't work, because nothing changed from my side.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't. I told my wife that the cancer had returned. I didn't tell her about the 12 months diagnosis.
Mhm.
For me, it was like, if I would voice it, I would make it real. I would make it
It
actual.
is exactly.
And yeah, and it sort of is like a red line through my whole journey. I also never referred to cancer as my cancer,
That's so good.
only as
Right.
the cancer. Even in my book, I if you read it, you'll see that 4 or 5 times in the book I spell it with a K, just to show my disrespect. So and it's a red line. It wasn't conscious right from the beginning, but it really is a red line throughout the whole journey.
Johan,
And yeah, yeah,
before we go on and talk about then what you decided to do and how you did overcome it, I think this is
yeah,
such an important point to make, and more people have to realize this, that exactly what you were saying. You have to take responsibility for your health, and only your body can actually heal itself. And so that's such an important topic, and to realize that our mainstream medical system, all they're doing is treating a symptom, and they're not treating the root cause, and that's all they know. And so it's so important to realize that you have control over your health, and that you can take command of your health, just as you did. So that's an important thing for people to understand. And also, like you said, I love that, because that's something I always tell people. If you have some kind of an illness or whatever, don't own it. Don't say, I have diabetes or I have that. If you say that, then you got it right. You owning it. Don't that's so good. That was so smart of you. Okay, so I'm sorry. So I want to make that point. That's so important. So go ahead and talk about that. Then what did you decide to do?
well, the same day I went home, and I started searching there where everybody tells you not to, in the internet, because where
No.
else? What else was I supposed to do? And I must admit, in 2011, the internet wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
So it took me 7 months of my allotted, as I always say, 12 months. I just want to mention this to people, that it's another red line through my journey, through the cancer journey. I've never really seen a diagnosis as anything chiseled in stone. It's somebody's opinion. That's all. It might be a professional's opinion, and it was in my case, but it's still only an opinion. And
Right.
and that is very important. That's part that sort of links to not calling it my cancer, to not owning it. It's a very important thing.
Yeah.
And the other,
Oh, and not buying into it. That's one of the worst things of our medical system. If they just say, "Well, we can't do anything for you. You're going to die in 12 months," so many people just accept that. They just accept that. If you accept it, then that's probably what you're going to create.
most definitely, I've heard stories of countless
Mhm.
situations exactly like that.
Yeah,
And also during my journey, I just want to say this up front, so that just to get it out, and because it's so important. During my journey, I realized that cancer wasn't the cause of my illness. It was a symptom of a sick body.
that's right.
So cause and effect. So you change the cause, you will change the effect. Natural law. There's nothing more scientific than that. And that really helped me. That mindset, that that consciousness of knowing that and owning it really helped me during a lot of really hard times.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great that you're able to determine that. So then, tell us about your journey of healing. How did you go about learning what you needed to do?
So about 7 months into these allotted 12, I read a sentence in the internet that said, cancer cannot survive in an oxygenated alkaline cellular environment.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Dr. Warburg, many people know of
Mm-hmm.
him, German biochemist, won a Nobel Prize for this discovery in 1931. And that was my light bulb moment. At that stage, 7 months in, I was really ill. Just to give uh, yourself an idea, it took me 20 minutes to walk up 2 flights of stairs at
Mm-hmm.
that point. So really couldn't work as a photographer anymore or anything. So yeah. Um, but I actually it was 2 o'clock in the morning when I read that, and I woke my wife, and I actually literally said to her, I have found a way not to die. Those are my exact words, because I knew it. I owned it. I don't know. It just resonated so with me. It, it was wonderful. It was really wonderful because I had something to hold on to. And
Mm-hmm.
so we started investigating this. I do have to say at this point as well that at that stage, I knew nothing about nutrition, about mindfulness, about meditation, about anything in this area. I actually sniggered at it much sometimes at that point. So yeah, what we did was my wife and I together, we started researching this, and the nutrition part, of course, came first because that was the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Became a vegetarian literally overnight, and 3 weeks later became a vegan. Uh, Over the years, I've extended that. I'm alkaline vegan, so I only eat alkaline food. Have been doing that for about, I don't know, 9 or 10 years already, so a long time. Uh, but yes, and about 3 months into this journey, after I read that, I I had a surge of energy one day that I hadn't experienced for a very long time, and that proved to me that whatever I was doing, and we tried everything, trial and error, made mistakes, did the whole thing. But whatever we were doing, the overall of it was working. And that, of course, again gave me, I try and explain it to people. It was like, for most people, it felt like an energy wave it probably felt like a 2 foot wave for them. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, it felt as if I was surfing a tsunami. It was,
That's
I
good.
just came out. I could feel this energy, and I was very ill at the point, and it just really told me, carry on, just do what you're doing. And it's not a quick fix. It wasn't a quick fix. It took me 2.5 years to get rid of everything, but continuously getting better and stronger and healthier. And we continue. We didn't then slack off and do less. We did more and more and more and more and researched and so on. And then later on, the the emotional, the spiritual, and again the physical side of things started being incorporated in our research and what I was doing. So, and also the book is basically written. I call it the 4 Qs. I try and develop still today. I try and develop my 4 Qs, not necessarily at the same time, but to get them plus minus at the same level. So IQ, EQ, emotional intelligence, SQ, spiritual intelligence, and PQ, so physical intelligence.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's,
Johanna, before we go on, I just want to say,
yeah,
first of all, you know, another good message is for our audience and for all of us is that whatever happens to us, our challenges are truly our blessings, right? Because look how you evolve through that experience, and now that you're able to go out and help other people do that, so you actually found your life purpose, And so that was actually, even though it's a very tough challenge you had to deal with, but it turned out to be a real blessing for you. So if we can look at, no matter what challenges we have, we can look at, there's a lesson to be learned, and there's something that can take us to another level. I think that's an important message that our audience needs to know. And again, I commend you for what you're doing. But okay, I have a short message, and then when we come back, yeah, let's get into that your philosophy and those basic 4 dimensions, things that you talk about. We'll get into that. So we'll be right back here in just 60 seconds.
Now, in just 17 minutes, you can get and stay fit and look and feel your best for life. This will be a life-changing and life-saving experience for you. Yes, it's true. Scientific studies have shown the Fast Fit 17 system is the fastest way to achieve maximum results in the shortest amount of time. This is a true fitness breakthrough. This system was developed particularly for busy people over 40 who know they need and want to get into better shape and have more energy, but feel they don't have the time. Now, time is no longer an issue. We want everyone to take advantage of this fitness breakthrough. So, for a limited time, you can get the entire program for only $17. So don't miss out. Order now at fastfit17.com.
Okay, we are back with Johan, and his amazing book is that he's the author of Reversing Cancer. You caused it, and you can reverse it. Such an important book. So let's talk briefly about those 4 different consciousness that are so important.
Yes, absolutely. As I said, it's at the foundation of my life and my book and literally everything I do. The IQ for me, and it for me, it is understanding the science of health.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important knowing about cellular pH, that you can't control your pH in your blood. That's controlled by your organs.
Mm-hmm.
But you can 100% control the pH on a cellular level.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at, I'm just quickly going to do this for the listeners. We're looking at 7.2 on a pH scale is neutral. So
Mm-hmm.
anything below that is acidic, and everything above that is alkaline. So everything, if your cellular pH is acidic, long story short, it basically creates sugar that cancer cells feed from. That is their nutrition. That is what they eat. So, and if you take that away, you basically starve it, reverse it, however you want to say that. And that is very important. But it's also the science of health, for example, inflammation, and how terrible inflammation is, what it all causes: diabetes, cardiovascular disease, immunity health issues, naturally cancer as well. And especially with cardiovascular degree, people are always saying that heart attacks are caused through cholesterol and stuff. But cholesterol is something that's found at the scene of the crime, but it's not the perpetrator.
Exactly.
Cholesterol sticks to inflammation tissue that's inflamed, and that's what causes it then to the blockage. But it's not it's the inflammation that caused that. So very, right. Very, very important, that side of things. Understand it. And especially in the nutrition side of things, all the things that I've been doing for years now have all over the years been scientifically proven. Yeah. That you can get everything you need from vegetables, etc. That stress acidifies your body on a cellular level. It's all proven. It's all scientifically proven these days. So very important to understand that.
Yeah, I just want to add, as we know, everybody always says you got to eat more vegetables, but we know greenery, and vegetables and fruits are primarily all alkaline forming. So just got to get much more alkaline food in your diet. Let's go on to the next one, emotional quotient. This is a really big one too, because we now know that what manifests in our physical body begins in our mental, emotional state.
Yes. Very, very, very important. And here, managing stress and emotional well-being is absolutely key. Evaluate your stress. None of us can get away from it anymore. If you have work, if you have a job, if you have a family, you got it finished. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
I prefer to call it a bit of pressure. Stress is always, there's such a connotation attached to stress, but evaluate your stress. In my case, it is definitely time pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Time pressure causes really negative emotions and negative things in me. So I evaluated that, and I changed my whole day. I lengthened my day. I get up really early in the morning. Now that I have, yes, I know, time to meditate because I've evolved into all that now. Time to meditate, time to run my sport. That's my favorite form of exercise at the moment. Very, very, very important to breath work, to raise your consciousness, to raise your whatever you are doing continuously. Never be happy at the point that you are. Always try and go more. As I said, meditation, breath work, sports, all very important for me from the emotional side of things.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. You know, you talked about the time thing. Don't forget, all stress is just a perception. We're just making that up in our own mind. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to do whatever you need to do, and we need to get out of that feeling of we have to accomplish so much and everything's so important. We got to do this. We got to do that. No, you don't. What you're going to do is enjoy your life and slow down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That's what we really need. Okay, let's go on to the third one, which is spiritual quotient. I think we kind of mentioned that a little bit, but
for the spiritual one, again, in my situation, is cultivating a deeper sense of purpose. For me,
exactly.
that has been so powerful. During my journey, all the stuff in those first 7 months that I was reading, it was all doom and gloom. You are going to die. It's going to take years. It's going to be painful, etc., etc., etc. And through that, I got from going from a fashion photographer, worked as a fashion photographer for 20 years in Germany and here in London. I realized that there was no one place where you could create, or where somebody like me could go and find the information that was needed. Not sugar-coated information, proper, good, solid, well-researched information, but not with all the doom and gloom and in a positive manner. You can put anything a spin. You can put a positive spin on anything.
Yeah.
And that was why I created UK Health Radio, because UK Health Radio was that platform for me. I decided that I've got to create that platform. So purpose was so important for me at that stage.
Yeah.
And of course, the purpose hasn't stopped. Beginning of last year, 2024, I created the Alkaline Collective Mastermind, where I actually have one-to-ones and group sessions with people battling cancer. And it's not on a coach system. As I said, it's a mastermind. So we learn from each other. There are people there that have done oxygen therapy that I haven't. So they tell us what the oxygen therapy is about, or the high vitamin C dosage therapies and all this kind of things. And it's wonderful because we all learn from each other's experience. Nobody tells anybody what to do, but we all give our opinions on things and so on. And that just makes the whole thing even more positive and inviting to stay on the attack, to keep on keeping on. That's the most important
Johan,
thing.
that's so good. Yeah, that's so good. And again, for our audience, we'll definitely put, how you can get involved with it. with that Alkaline Collective Mastermind, and also how you can get a copy of Johan's book for all his great work. So we're just about out of time here. So what would you, just in a few seconds,
Yeah.
give our audience what's the number one thing you say if you are dealing with any of these issues? What's the first thing you should do? Change your
You,
mindset.
you,
Yeah,
yes, you just have to be part of the process, and that
yeah,
automatically leads you to change your mindset, to be positive about things, to try new things. Very, very, very important. Use every tool in the toolbox available. Don't stick to one thing.
yeah,
You can't build a house with only hammers.
absolutely.
You need all the tools.
Thank you, Yosan. We're just about out of time, but thanks for your great work. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I definitely encourage our audience, if you're dealing with these issues, to check out Johan, and we'll give all that information in the show description. So if you like today's show, tell your friends about the Fearless Aging TV show all the time.